actually worked. Chat still ain't working though. That's crazy. God. Oh my god, it actually worked. Oh my god. It actually worked. Oh my gosh, the chat actually worked. At least it did on that one. It did on that one, at least. Should probably flip this around. There we go. Something like that. You know, that works a little bit better. That works. Also, I'm a little bit sick. Not feeling my best. But we're here today. We're gonna thug it out. And we're gonna do the best we can. This is gonna be a great stream. I wanted to do it last week. I said I was going to. But I got back from New York around like 10 p.m. Not early enough to even fathom doing this. But here we go. We will thug it out. We're gonna get this thing done. How long does that chat stay? Dang. I respect it though. I respect it heavily. I'm gonna need the test this. Let's see how it's looking. How's that sound? How's that audio sound? And if I were to, just for example, go over to, once it loads, go over to FootMob, and I were to have this up, how does that sound now? Look at that. Let's see it. Let's see over on the iPad. Once it loads, go over to FootMob. Yeah, that's fine. This up. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's all fine and dandy. Maybe a little bit more quiet on here. Yeah, no, we're doing good. We're doing good. And if I went back to here, then it'd be fine too. We are golden right now. We go fight a demon. And, you know, if I wanted to go away for any amount of time, I would have this.
Deebu? Shabba dabba gooba like a meeble. Meeble.
Or maybe I would even have something like... Yeah, those are leftovers from the Twitch era. We might need to be a little bit more professional from that. But speaking of, let's get right into the slate today. We're going to be talking about the last 2 weeks. And the main thing, it was in the title. I want to talk about the October camp that the US had, because it was an interesting one. And I mean that in a good way. It was very good. But let's talk about the USMNT. Talk about what we actually went through. Because this last camp, and maybe I should give a little bit of a reminder of what we had before then, because wasn't good. Take it back to the summer. Whew, summer was not fun. And also, this was following a fourth place CONCACAF Nations League finish. So we were not in a great spot. The Gold Cup and the friendlies in the summer were hopefully going to be something better. And it did not start out that way. We played Turkey, we played Switzerland, and we got absolutely demolished. We should have lost by more than 4 goals to Switzerland, but they put their feet off the gas in the second half. And then we got into the Gold Cup. Let's just say that teams are not going to bring their best national roster to the Gold Cup, especially ones that were invitees, although I don't really understand why you don't just bring it, but Saudi Arabia did not bring their A team to the Gold Cup. But regardless, we beat Trinidad, we beat Saudi Arabia, we beat Haiti in the group stage. We snuck out of Costa Rica. Well, Costa Rica wasn't able to sneak out because we were hosting, but 2-2, we saw the rise of Matt Freeze. Guatemala, same thing. And eventually lost to Mexico in the final. They were the better team in that one. They had the better roster. I'm not upset with that, but we didn't bring our best roster to the Gold Cup to begin with. In September camp, we lost to South Korea. And we played Japan, but let's look at these lineups, because if you recognize anybody in this Japan lineup, then you know ball. You know ball, because they were not playing. Well, actually, there's a couple people on here that I wouldn't be surprised if you knew, but mostly a B to even C roster. Balogun was amazing. We're still starting guys like Arston Freeman, Tristan Blackman. Oh my god, I forgot even about that. This was also one of, I think this was the first start Roldan had under Pochettino. And it wasn't good, at least at the moment. It wasn't good at all. So, not anything really to be optimistic about. This was the first time we tried a proper back three, but we would see it evolve again in October camp. Oop, no, I just went back in there. Oh, this is going to be bad. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough today, but we're going to thug out. We're going to thug it out. Please someone tell me if the audio's off, because I'm locked in on telling you on how October camp went. First match was against Ecuador. It ended up being a 1-1 draw. I remember the first goal from Valencia was a really bad mistake by Chris Richards, but everything else from him was 100% solid. And then we also saw just Balogun trying to just basically play the game by himself, 1v11. And I wouldn't have been shocked if we still finished 1-1 if he played that way, because he was incredible in this game. He, of course, scored the goal that tied it up. And I wonder what the stats were for this game, because I feel like we actually outplayed Ecuador, a team that had let up 5 goals in 18 games in CONMEBOL qualifying. So, just a really good showing from us to not, of course, we got 1 goal. Everyone's going to let up a goal, but we dominated possession, something, of course, that doesn't matter. Jose Mourinho would tell you about that, but it is something. We outshot them. We had more big chances. We had more actual chances. We just kind of outplayed them in every way. And this was, I feel like, the best version of our it's a 3-4-2-1. And Pulisic wasn't in this lineup, but and we could actually definitely use Pulisic in this lineup, and we were missing him for a bit, but we saw Aaronsons. He'll be replaced by Jedi Robinson. Hopefully, we would assume if Jedi Robinson is fit and healthy that he would be playing over Aaronsons. But we also saw Weah as the other wingback. And then Aiden Morris, we gave him a chance. He wasn't very good in that one. Tessman in the double pivot. We could see Tyler Adams, although he hasn't been quite in form. in the national team this year, but he's still been solid, in my opinion. We could see Johnny Cardoso, although if we're talking about national team form, I mean, Christian Roldan has been better than Johnny Cardoso so far. I wouldn't say start Christian Roldan, but we'll get to it. We also saw Weston McKennie in that. Not necessarily a 10 spot, but he played more forward. I don't hate that. We saw Miles Robinson in this back three. He actually surprised me. Miles Robinson wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But this back three, it's interesting because we have a lot of players in clubs starting for teams that play in a back three. Chris Richards, he does. He's not the main guy. Of course, you have Guy there. Guy. I don't know how to say it. But also you have Mark McKenzie for Toulouse. He plays in the back three, League One. A very good French league defense. For Melo, sorry. Mark McKenzie also hasn't been great for the national team, but I would trust him over Tristan Blackman, Walker Zimmerman, even Miles Robinson, although he's been better. Tim Ream has wavered. I feel like his age is obviously up there. I think if we start him a year from now in the World Cup, we're a little bit delusional on how much he really still brings for this national team. But he could definitely be on the roster. I see no problem with that. I would rather you start Noah Kai Banks. Noah Kai is starting consistently for Augsburg now and also in a big three. So we saw this continue in Australia. Haji Wright had a masterclass of a game. And you know who else did? Haji Wright had 2 goals. He had a brace. Guess who got him those goals? It was Christian Roldan, man. Christian Roldan had a good game for the national team. And it was something. This man looked like something he has never been, and he had no business being. And we've also seen a lot of quotes come up about Christian Roldan recently. We have seen the same thing happen to one Diego Luna after January camp. Is it propaganda? I will not say that for sure. I'm just throwing ideas out there. But also in this game, James Sands was not good. He did not look national team caliber. I'm not entirely opposed to giving him another chance, but also, it's Australia. We should be being competent against Australia in a World Cup setting. There's other teams that we should be dominating. There's teams that we should be fighting against. Maybe not the better team, like the best teams that we'll go up against in the World Cup. But there's also teams in Australia that if you look terrible against Australia, I mean, there's only so much I could say about you. We gave him one chance. It was against Australia. He did not look good. So, am I supposed to say he's going to be good against Argentina? I can't. And that's a shame, because I love what James Sands has been doing in the Bundesliga. But everyone else was solid in this game. I liked Freeman in this one. I liked, again, Miles Robinson. I don't think he should be starting, but Cameron Carter-Vickers is now out 3 to 5 months, and if Miles Robinson filled that spot, I wouldn't be that upset about it. Just please, we don't have to be starting him. We've seen enough of Miles Robinson, I promise you. Podge. Even you have. Of course, we as a fan base, we've seen enough of Miles Robinson. Let me... I cannot stress enough. We have seen enough Miles Robinson. We can assess this man's ability. We saw it under one Greg Berhalter. Sorry for invoking that name to the people who have trauma. But, Poch, you have now started this man in at least 5 games that I remember. You've assessed this man. I'm sure you know how good Miles Robinson is on this national team stage. And also, I don't have the quote pulled up, but The man that you said is going to be the best center back in Europe, you have not given a chance. Not one. You called him up one time, didn't play him. And now that man's starting for Augsburg, so let's see if he goes on that trajectory and maybe is a world-class center back in a couple months. And then he'll have to call him up. So that would be nice. That would be really nice. There's a couple takeaways that we can make from this October camp. And I think the main one is that I'm talking to you casually about it. I'm not like this. I am not pleading to you, Patch. I am not grasping for any single thing that I can see as hope for the future. Not a semblance of a thing. Because there is. There are good things. There's reasons to be optimistic about maybe the World Cup, but we'll see. We'll see in November. We'll see in March. We won't see in January because there isn't going to be Camp Cupcake. And that is another reason because Camp Cupcake this year did immeasurable damage. Immeasurable? Is that how you say? How do you say? Immeasurable damage to our timeline as a national team under Poch. Without January camp, without Camp Cupcake, we don't see Patrick Aguimang for 5 straight camps. We don't need to give him a chance because he doesn't shine in January camp, which he really didn't in the first place. But we wouldn't have to slog through starting him every single game in Gold Cup. Brian White as well. Brian White as the backup. Whew. Yeah, that was something. Gold Cup. Sorry, not Gold Cup. Well, although Gold Cup does have this too, but January camp tends to have 1 or 2 guys that we actually see, and maybe not this generation, and by generation I mean World Cup cycle. Maybe not this one, but the next one. They're young. You also see 10 guys who are at least 25. They're in the prime. They're even past their prime. And you see a bunch of guys that aren't national team quality now, and they won't be in the future. There is no reason to believe that Brian White will ever be national team quality. I'm sorry. There's no reason to call him up. You could have called up a young prospect in Damian Downs. Damian Downs has actually not had a great year, but you could have given him a chance. You could have called in Julian Hall. If we're really talking about potential and guys that are in MLS in the offseason, Julian Hall was 15 starting games for the New York Red Bulls. The only reason he isn't now is because they have Choupo-Moting. You have so many guys that you could actually project as national team quality, and you don't have any of them in Gold Cup. We're choosing guys who are good MLS players at the age of 26. It's just not a good use of our time. And it's made worse when these guys perform against Venezuela's B team, against some of Costa Rica's players, against Trinidad and Tobago. They perform against these guys. You have quotes from Poch. You have memorable moments from Diego Luna playing with his nose shattered. And then these guys stick around because they have the media. They have the attention. You're giving these guys the attention when they're playing against nobodies. Well, what about Josh Sargent? Josh Sargent hasn't been good for us. He's been not quite as bad as some people make it out to be, but he hasn't scored a goal for the national team in over 5 years. But why is that the case? Well, he's playing against the best competition. If he played in January camp, Josh Sargent would have a brace every time. But he isn't, because he's not playing in MLS, and he won't get that exposure from the MLS media. I'm not saying there's an MLS quota. I'm just saying Poch has people around him that maybe aren't giving him the best advice, and he isn't fully realizing how deep our national team pool is outside of MLS. We have so many guys in top flight leagues that have never got a look. Leonard Maloney. He made a pretty bad decision to go to... Did he go to Frankfurt? No, he didn't go to Frankfurt. He went to Mainz. He was in Hoffenheim and starting every game. Top 5 league, by the way. Bundesliga. He's starting every game, but he's never got a chance for the national team. But we have to give Christian Roldan a try. We have to give Jack McGlynn a try. We have to give Sebastian Berhalter a try. Because we have to see, just to test them out, right? We have to see if they're national team caliber. Well, what have they done over Paxton Aronson to get that chance? I get it, yeah. Give him a chance. Sebastian Berhalter, maybe he'll be something. Paxton Aronson, maybe he'll be something. But what does it really make sense to give these guys multiple looks? Multiple might even be stretching it. Many looks. You gave Sebastian Berhalter so many looks. You gave Luca Del Torre so many looks. But never Paxton Aronson. The Eredivisie Youth Player of the Year. Yeah, never give him a look. Oh, what's up, Mike? Mike, we got to talk about this Brooklyn FC game in a couple weeks. But you asked, does January have a FIFA international window? No, it doesn't. January camp is I feel like it's harsh to say made up window, but it is. It's just a made up thing that we have as a national team. We have it to usually just promote our MLS guys and say, oh, look, Vancouver Whitecaps has 3 national team players. Charlotte FC has a national team striker. That's usually what it's about. It wasn't originally about that. It was just to get our national team caliber guys in MLS some extra reps against other teams across the world. But now our best players aren't playing in MLS. So it's more of a marketing thing. But when it comes to the current camps, not just January camp, because January camp is gone. Not forever, but we're not having it next year, so we don't have to worry about it until the World Cup. October camp went well. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. Just as the performance overall. My optimism for the team was at an all-time low. So keep that in mind when I say that my optimism now is more of a 5 out of 10. Because it was a 1. And if you had anything other than a 1 or a 2 out of 10 for your optimism after September camp, after the Gold Cup, after the Nations League, after Copa America, after all these things combined, if you were optimistic for the national team, please give me what you're smoking, because I need some of that. I really do. I mean, people were going around saying that Poch is worse than Berhalter, and I wasn't even laughing him out the door. I don't think I'd go that far. But, if you thought that after September, after the summer at least, I wouldn't blame you. I would not blame you. He's had a worse record. He's had basically the same baffling mistakes in substitutions, in call-ups, but at least Berhalter cared about recruiting. We could have gotten Nathaniel Brown. And Berhalter actually gave him a chance. He said he reached out to Nathaniel Brown, so maybe there was never a chance we got him. But Berhalter didn't even try. So now, if Jedi Robinson is injured in the World Cup, which there's a very good chance he will, because the last year he's barely stayed healthy, we'll be starting Max Arfson at the World Cup. It's not going to be good enough. It's just not going to be good enough. And there are other options. Right. We could start Weston McKennie at the left wing back. Start Weah at the right wing back. They did that a lot at Juve. But I still don't have the trust in Poch to do that. Because Freeman and Aaronsons are his guys. It's just how it's gone. Joe Scally won't be at the World Cup. So now, Dest should hopefully be our starting right wing back. Ideally, you would even have, in a world where Jedi's gone, you have Dest and Weah starting at the wing back. But if anything happens after that, you have Alex Freeman and Max Starfson. That is not good enough to make actual results at the World Cup. Your wingbacks are so important when you're playing a 3-4-2-1 or even a 3-4-3. We're going to be doing one of those. And if we don't have our star guys, if we don't have one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League, if we don't have a guy who's killing it for PSV, we are screwed. We are screwed. We don't have the depth of France, obviously. But that's our main issue. Our starting 11, on its best, could put up a good fight against any team in the world. But you lose any of those guys and it starts to fall apart. And that's the main issue. On the other hand, though, the optimism is there. I believe there is a chance. Maybe I don't have the dreams of a quarterfinal that I did a year ago. Or I don't even think I had that a year ago. Even when Poch was signed, I don't think I believed that. But if we put up a good fight against some of the best teams in the world at this World Cup, that's all we need to really get this country behind the sport even more. And if we do that, well, we've got a good generation coming. For example, let's get into the actual current events. Because the first one I want to talk about... Yep, still bad. The first thing I want to talk about is this U17 World Cup roster. The U20 World Cup was, I don't know. It was something, because I wasn't too fond of the roster, and we picked most of our best guys. It was really just Noah Kai Banks and Diego Cochin that should have been there, and it wasn't. But Ben Kamaski was the Golden Boot winner. We almost beat the defending champions. Not the defending champions. The team who would go on to be champions in Morocco. And this man Baudry. I'm telling you, if we had a Diego Cochin or even Gavin Beavers, would we have lost to Morocco? And then after that, who knows? After that, who knows? The U17s, though, this is what I'm I'm excited for. You have a couple good goalkeepers. The main one is William here for Sporting Lisbon. He's looked good from what I've seen, and he's still at an age where, who knows? Because, I mean, Guy Gasolino was the sure thing at an age older than Lamela is now, but just didn't work out. And the defenders, I'm not too high on either. I like Pedro Guiamares from Orange County. I've seen him play. But the midfielders, I am so excited for this group of midfielders. Maxi Carrizo, I watched him play live for NYCFC. This kid is different. And you could say the same thing about Kevin Sullivan. Because Kevin Sullivan is a year and a half younger. Of course, he hasn't really broken out with Philly yet. But everything you see from him in the off season and in training, I mean, he's killing Nathan Harrio out there. That's not as much of a flex as I meant that to be. Nathan Iowa is not very good. But you've got Nikos Sikiris' younger brother, Mateo, who, of course, not really Nico's fault. He battled with injuries a lot, but he looks better so far, and he's playing for the Galaxy. Calvin Sullivan, like I said, he hasn't really broken out, but he is just a different mode of player. Different mode of player. You don't really see a guy like Calvin Sullivan for the U.S. You don't really see a guy, especially like Maxi Carrizo. These guys are going to be better Diego Lunas. That's what I'll say. These guys are going to be creative 10s. And it'll be actually interesting to see if either of them can break the spot from Malik Tillman. This man right here. Malik Tillman. Or of course, Gio Reyna if he figures things out. And I wonder if either of them can coexist on this team, because Kevin Solik can play on the wing. Maxi Carrizo could be a 9 if we really needed him to. But neither of those guys are my number one prospect for the USMNT right now, because that man is Mathis Albert. If y'all don't know Mathis Albert, look up the man's name. I'm actually going to look up how old he is right now, because I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure he's 16, but Mathis Albert age. This kid is 16. He turned 17 in May. So he's 16 and not a lot of change. I'm telling you, this kid is better than Cole Campbell right now. You swap Cole Campbell for Mathis Albert at the U20 World Cup and he would have done better. He is killing it for Dortmund's youth system. Let me go on the FootMob and see just what level he's played at. It's saying U19s, but he's played for Dortmund too as well. He demolished the U19s in the UEFA Youth League. He was one of the best players. He was one of the premier players in there all season. He's still occasionally playing in the U19s, but he's also played for Dortmund too. So he's starting to break through. If he makes a match day lineup for Dortmund's first team this year, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Because Cole Campbell at 17, 18 was making rosters for Dortmund. And he just hasn't really, he really hasn't done much. And it's apparent that he just wasn't killing it in the U19s and for Dortmund's reserve team the way that Mathis Albert is. Mathis Albert is killing it, and he's our future winger. It'll be interesting to see, now that we don't have proper wingers anymore, where Mathis Albert will really line up for us when he breaks out in the national team in 3 years. Actually, maybe I wouldn't be shocked if after the World Cup we start to see some just experimental call-ups for Mathis Albert, because he is that dude. We've also got Bertimas from Charlotte FC. He's played a couple games for them already, especially since Aguimang has been moved away to Derby County. And then Julian Hall as well. Like I said, last year he was consistently coming off the bench for the Red Bulls at 15. Now he's 16 and doing the same thing because Choupo-Moting is there. But very exciting group for the U17. The World Cup for U17s begins in 2 weeks, and tune into that. I may even do, if I can find a good way to watch some free streams, I may do some watch-alongs for the members. And I should mention, this is a free stream, but starting next week, we're going to be doing members only. The super fellas, I have a couple of them now. I appreciate each and every one of you who gave your money to me for my channel. That's still something that's just mind-blowing to me. I mean, I've met people in real life that say, I've seen your videos. I never expected anything like this, really. That when 5 months ago now, I think it was about 6 months ago now, where I decided my two local teams, RAFC and the Revs, they're going to be playing in the US Open Cup. Let me go make a video about going to each of them. And just ever since then, I've really blended my biggest passion with my second biggest passion. My biggest passion is making these videos, just making great videos and having people see them. And maybe they learn something. Maybe their day gets a little bit better from seeing my video. And my second biggest passion at the moment is soccer. I'm a basketball guy at heart. Basketball is my first love, but ever since 2021, soccer's been a really big thing for me. So blending these two has been amazing, and I'm not burning out anytime soon. So if you want to be a member, see these live streams, see watch-alongs in November camp, because that's what I'm going to be doing too. Consider becoming a member. It's only it's $3 a month. So other things, what did I have? I have my bookmarks from the last 2 weeks. Speaking of the Revs, I just got reminded of the greatest celebration I've seen in a while. Get it? Bam. I wish they still did that. No, but actual current news. Reno is getting USL team. As you saw from that quote street, they have tried and tried and tried and tried again in the Vegas area, in the Nevada scene for USL teams. They've come and go. But this team is going to be in the championship in 2027, which is interesting. We're getting a lot of teams that are building their 15K stadiums. This is not one of them. This is not going to be 15K. I believe they have the link here for this team in Reno. Got it right here. Yeah, so this team in Reno is going to build a 6,000 seat stadium. It's interesting because there's a lot of stadiums that have options to expand, and that number is usually 15K. For those who don't know, this is because we're going full screen to explain this for you. This is because the standards for a first division league in the US, you need to have 75% of your teams be in a market of 1 million people metro population. 75% need to have a stadium of over 15,000 capacity. And these standards have been kind of withering away. Nothing's official yet, but there's been talk that these standards are going to be broken down, which is good. Some Premier League teams don't even fit these standards. And imagine not allowing a Premier League team to hop over and play in a USL Premier League. That would be ridiculous. But the trend that we've been seeing is smaller stadiums being built. But you've also seen some new teams building their stadiums at exactly 15,000. So, are these teams going to be sprinkled between the USL Premier, USL Championship? We don't know. But it seems that Reno is going to be okay with joining the championship. 6,000 is a doable number. Las Vegas Lights don't have nearly as much of that. They also play in a baseball stadium. That's good to know. But then you also have teams like Portland Hearts of Pine. Guess who fills that out? These boys right here. Duger Union. They fill out Fitzpatrick Stadium in Portland, 7,000 right there. So it's not unreasonable to think that a championship team should have 6,000 seats. I think it should probably be even more, to be honest. But there's also no option to expand. So is Reno going to be just a foot in the door? Are they just going to try to survive? Because it's going to cost them $80 million. $80 million just to build this. It's kind of a it's a good looking stadium too. So I'm not saying that it's not going to be worth the money, but 6,000 seats. You're going to be banking on the fact that once Pro Rel comes to USL, you have to just hope that the standards go down and you'll let into the league if you are good enough to be promoted into the Premier League. But at the same time, there's other teams like Portland Hearts of Pine. I talked to a couple people. Oh yeah, they could. Trust me, I was there yesterday, and I talked to a couple of people that are chairman of the Jericho Union, and there's no word that they'll be moving. They're gonna stay in Fitzy. Eventually, maybe they can build up the stadium, but they're never gonna get to 15K in that arena. Just that venue isn't big enough for it. So we're hoping best case scenario that these standards are brought down, because if you need to have these exact laws, it's gonna ruin the game, and USL has to just keep fighting for this, because if they don't, then MLS wins without even doing anything. The goal at the end of the day is to have a competitive system between this new pro route. Yep. Yeah. Is this is it really that blurry? Has it been that blurry the whole time? Damn. Well, we'll have to go full screen more than that then. Yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. Gonna go full screen more often then. No, but these teams... I lost my train of thought. I was almost about to get right back into it, and it was going to be so smooth, but no, I lost it. I did. Regardless, teams are building 6,000 stadiums. They're building 6,000 stadiums. They're building the capacities of under 15,000 with no plans to expand. So hopefully this doesn't become an issue, because there's a million different issues that the new Pro Rail system could face. I mean, we're still assuming that it'll just work all fine. And I have faith that it will, because just the amount of proper football fans, we'll say, that'll pay attention to the league now is going to be, it's going to be just something we've never seen before in also quote-unquote minor league for sport in this country. It's just going to be different than anything we've ever seen. And the owners, in something that was surprising to me, almost unanimously voted for this. So they're bought in, and I think it'll work, but we still need to worry about these issues that may come up. I think USL can also get waivers for clubs that go into the first division. I agree. Yeah, I think that's something they can do, and that's something that they should do. Let's talk about some other news in my bookmarks. Yeah, so let's get into the players. Some great, surprising performances this week. I can't show the actual video, but Brendan Aronson was looking like something he should not be looking like versus West Ham. And that might speak to West Ham, and you may say, well, they're a championship club parading in the Premier League. He wasn't doing this last year. He was not doing this last year. I promise you. I was watching Leeds in the Prem. He was not doing this. And Leeds was the best team in the Prem. He was not doing this. He was starting every game. He was acting different yesterday. He scored a goal, and he hit the crossbar for another, would have been beautiful goal. Brendan Aronson, have yourself a day. And very interesting. See if he can really get back into the national team picture. Let's talk about some bad news. This isn't great. Let me turn this off. Yeah, pardon the interruption. Definitely one of these sports shows of all time. MLS playoffs got brought up. It got brought up in this show. In this show, for people who don't know, they give themselves like 2 minutes to talk about each topic, and then at the end they go quick fire through everything else. So this is the last thing on their agenda, and this is what they have to say about the MLS playoffs.
Last one, the MLS playoffs are tonight. Inter Miami hosts Nashville SC. Who you got?
I got 3 TV screens, as you know.
Right.
None of them will have that.
Okay.
I'll have the World Series large. I'll have 2 NBA games flanking. I may click over to watch your boy wearing pink. I may do that.
Last one.
That's bad. That that is bad. I don't care if he was 100% right in saying that. That's just, you can't do that. You have a major league in this country. We're working towards there being 5. Financially, it's not there yet, but it's not impossible that we see the big 5 leagues in the U.S. And if that's the attention that MLS is getting, I would rather there be none. And you really only see it anyway when Messi did something notable, or Miami is playing this game and this happened. So it's already some interesting but not surprising favoritism. And if I could just get a hot take out here, I don't care how much attention he brings to the league. I can't wait till Messi's gone. I can't wait till he's gone. I mean, I'll still be watching him when he goes over to Newell's Old Boys and lives out the last couple years of his career. But he signed a deal with Miami, extension till 2028. So we'll see if that actually happens. If so, we got 3 more years of this. And I don't know, man. This guy has done irreversible damage to my team. And I get so excited and joyous every time I see them flop in the playoffs. But I also think that's a pretty typical reaction for the guys who are the bullies, because Inter Miami has been the bullies. And they've also not even been spectacular this year, but they still have that mentality. So I'm rooting against them. We talked a little bit about Christian Roldan before, and this is a quote. This is a quote. Christian Roldan is an example of how you want to build your perfect player. He has a little bit of everything. First of all, great English, Poch. Appreciate you speaking in perfect English, even though it's not your first language, just to get this quote off. If Roldan's your boy, then yeah, there we go. And also, if you had other people write this for you, then there you go as well. But I'm not saying he did that or anything. Christian Roldan is an example of how you want to build your perfect player.
Dibu. Shabba
From what I've heard, if Roldan is the 26th man on our World Cup roster and does not play a minute, there's no harm, no foul, right? No harm. He seems apparently like a great guy who's always, smiling. Yeah, he's smiling, so you have to have him here, right? I mean, you know who's not smiling? I don't know. Isn't at the point we know Rodon's smiling. So, yeah, he's gonna bring some great vibes to the World Cup team. But didn't we say the same thing about Shaq Moore? Did we not say the same thing about a Leggett? About all these people who were Greg's boys, but and they weren't there because their national team quality. Because, I mean, who really cares about that anyway? They were here as locker room guys. When Greg was talking about his African dogs, who's going to listen? Is it going to be Christian Pulisic? No. He's too in his own head. We need guys. We need guys like Kalen Acosta. Because they're going to be ride or die for this national team. Guys like Joe Scally? No, they could never. Joe Scally, you think he really cares about the national team? The guy who was really our only good option in Copa America? When everyone else was phoning it in and had a disaster at that tournament? No. Because he allegedly was doing donuts in a golf cart. So he needs to be banished forever. Tristan Blackman, though. Max Aaronsons, though. Have they done anything remotely good on defense? No. But we need to give them another chance just to test them out. And they're good locker room presences. And when they eventually play, don't be too mad. It's a World Cup. They gotta play their minutes. No, they don't. They don't, Poch. I promise you. They don't. If you want to bring Christian Blackman, ooh, it's like the combination of my nightmare. No, if you want to bring Christian Roldan as your 26th man on the roster, as an assistant coach, don't care if he's a great guy who's gonna uplift the spirits of this team, bring him. But if I see USA versus Ghana, and this man is in the starting lineup in the double pivot, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'll know exactly where that came from. Because it came from this. He got 2 assists. He had a great game against Australia. I'm not saying it wasn't great. He had himself a great game. But, and for the sake of due diligence, I'm going to look this up. I'm pretty sure it's 45 caps, but we'll see. Christian Roldan has exactly 41 caps for the national team. He also has exactly 1 good game for the national team. It just so happens to be his most recent one. And he was really good in that game. But does that take away from the first 40 where he was dog shit? He was horrible. In my humble opinion, I would say no. Oh, we've got other bad news though.
World Cup away from Boston. Somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes. We have the right to do that with FIFA. So if we think that LA is going to be bad, or we think that applies a little bit to the Olympics too, but we think there's any reason that whether it's Boston or anywhere else that they're not doing their job, we're going to take those World Cup games and move them someplace else.
There's a chance. My dream matchup. my my fantasy. Cabo Verde qualify for the World Cup. We're so close. They're going to be a pot 4 team. And they have a chance. USA. Cabo Verde. Playing in Gillette Stadium. Do you know what the most Cape Verdean place in the world is? Outside of Praia? It's Massachusetts. It's Brockton. It's Taunton. It's Providence. But, Gillette Stadium is like a 30-minute drive away from the secondary Cape Verdean capital of the world. This team is the second smallest team to qualify for the World Cup ever. It's their first World Cup ever. You're gonna take this away from them, man. And I understand if in my dream the USA plays them, it's gonna be like $4,000 for a ticket. So I'm priced out anyway. But if it's like Cabo Verde versus Uzbekistan, no, that wouldn't happen. Let's say it's Cabo Verde versus Germany. The tickets would be like $100. And I want to go to that game. I want to go to that. US has all the games on the West Coast. I think, yeah, so it depends on if we're in group A, B, or C. We're going to be in one of them. But I believe, yes, one of those groups has games playing in MetLife. And that's like a doable drive. Actually, even I don't even know if I'd drive. I take the Greyhound down, just like any type of bus. It's like 5 hours for me to get down to that New York, New Jersey area. But yeah, man, don't take it away from Boston. USA isn't playing there, so it's not like tickets are going to be that much. There is going to be 1 or 2 knockout matches. So if USA is out of the group, I mean, we should. There's going to be 3 teams out of the group, so if we don't, then just back it up. But there was a non-zero chance that we're playing in Gillette. We're playing in Boston. And then those tickets would be like $10,000. And yeah, that'll be terrible. Because I will buy that. And I will ruin my life. I will ruin my entire financial situation to go over and drive up to Gillette Stadium. It's like 35 minutes away from me. And go watch them boys. In the red, white, and fucking blue. I don't need to go to college. I'll just drop out of college. Yeah, I just don't do that anymore. And then I can pay to go to this game. It's simple. What are we talking about? I'm gonna sneeze. Hold up. That's it for the bad news. Now more into polarizing news, but it's kind of good for me. So the goalie kits leaked for next year's World Cup, and this is basically a modernized version of the '94 kits. Obviously, also a goalie version. And you know what? People are hating on it. People are hating on that in the comments. You know what? I gotta tell you. If you don't like this, it's fine. But don't you ever talk about that 94 kit coming back ever again. Because you aren't ready for it. Everybody talks about, we need that 94 kits back. Until it's time to have the 94 kits back. Then what do you say? Oh, it's goofy. Oh, this is so cringe. This is so cringe. Look at that. Oh my god. What a giant star in the middle. Yes. Yeah. And I'm standing on that. Hey, give me that damn star. Yeah! Right in the middle. Let's see, you with me or you aren't with me? Put your ballots in now. because you either on my side and you like this or you don't. And I don't want to hear nobody switch up when you see it on the field and it's kind of fire. I don't want to hear nobody switch up. I don't want to hear nobody switch up. There's another good thing.
That is not soccer. That is
You want to hear this speech from Poch?
here, more there, more here, more back. Now, come on, that is not soccer. That is not soccer. Soccer is go there all together like in the last 15 minutes. That we start to run and be connected. We didn't talk. That is the example that we didn't talk. Because in the way that we concede, I didn't listen because you need to talk. You need to say, Shane, hey, come on. Hey, with you, Anderson, left shoulder, right shoulder. That is football. If we want to compete. And we are 1-1 because we have the quality. But now, in 45 minutes, we need to show more quality. Play together. And natural. If you here more there.
Yeah. First of all, I love when we bring someone in who has grown up their entire life calling up football, and then just throw in a soccer. I wonder how Poch felt the first time he said that, and he meant it, because that's my brother right there, man. Come on, Poch. I love when we announced Balogun made the switch to United States, and he just said, I always love. We're gonna try to do the accent. I don't know. Say, what am I saying? So always love playing soccer. So it's a great soccer nation. Like, you can call it football, man. Because he was like, I love playing soccer. Just call it football, man. Nobody's gonna be sliding you, bro. Just call it football. It's okay. It's okay. You want to play for us? That's fine. I mean, we're not gonna ignore the fact that you were an England guy, like 3 months ago. Like, we're not going to ignore the fact that Jedi grew up in England. He's just got an American dad who, military family connections. like Abello, you were born in Brooklyn. Oh, great. Yes, you're American. You were born here. We accept you. You grew up in England, man. You don't have to call it soccer. I promise you. It's fine. You're going to be okay. For the actual speech, though, this is what we need. This is just, I mean, African dogs. That's all I'm gonna say. And then after this, there's been people coming in and out of chat, but Mike's the only one who's been chatting. I see it says there's 4 people right now. If you're in chat and you're a lurker, that's okay. Just say hi. Just say hi. I want to hear you drop your favorite team. Who do you support right now? Everyone who's in chat listening to this, maybe you're falling asleep listening to my soothing voice with the lo-fi beats in the background. Oh, they left. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Everybody left as soon as I said that, because I called you out. That's right. Damien Downs hasn't been good for Southampton, and it was an interesting decision at the time. Hasn't aged well. He took a gamble on himself and went to England, obviously with the chance of promotion into the Premier League. But you would have been playing in the Bundesliga this year for Cologne. He hasn't been good in the Championship, and he was very good in the Bundesliga. So it's surprising. It's surprising to see him struggle like this for Southampton. And it makes you think, what if he just stayed for Cologne, played in the Bundesliga right now? Maybe they would have signed a replacement, but at the end of the day, he's 19. The kid's 19. You could have stayed and built yourself up to a team that maybe stays in the Bundesliga. We talked about no January camp, but also Doug McIntyre said right here that Alex Freeman, Diego Luna, Jack Milligan, Matt Turner would not play another competitive match for the U.S. until at least February. But also, it won't be February. It'll be March. I don't know why he said February. Because there's going to be no January camp, and MLS playoffs are going through December. So March camp is the next chance. We talked about Benji Kameski. We talked about January camp. And that's all the current events I have to show you. But let's talk about the future. Because there's some playoff matches going on. Let's just go down the list here. MLS playoffs is starting. Where is the bracket? There it is. The audio's coming in. Let's see what's going on with that. Testing. The audio's coming in. Okay. I see. Thank you, Mike, for appreciating that. Testing. Oh. All right, how we sound now? Let me know. Oh, wait. Let me know if that is better. Dang, where's Jose? I need him up in here. Okay, we're going to assume that is better because that's usually what fixes things. Oh, no, don't freeze. Okay. All right, MLS playoffs have already started. Today we had... Sorry, not today. We had Portland and Salt Lake. Portland is moving on to play San Diego. That's a good matchup. I'm good with that. Chicago beat Orlando to play against Philly. That's a stomp. I watched New York play to try to secure a better spot in the playoffs. They didn't, so they'll be going against Charlotte. The worst case scenario was they go against Miami, so I guess they're okay with that. Miami already beat Nashville in game one. And Nashville is a sneaky contender, so it might be a swift postseason series right there. Because also we have the Hellsville Derby tomorrow. Ooh, tune into that. Because that is always a classic. And we're getting 3 games max of it in the first round. Also in the first round, Minnesota, Seattle. That's a little interesting matchup. Both teams that have been slept on for sure. But also, in my opinion, rightfully slept on. I don't think they're in the top this year. Also, 2 teams that I'm gonna send this matchup to my friends later, because those who know. LAFC playing Austin. That is going to be a 2-game series. Austin spent $30 million on their front 3, and it's okay. The rest of the lineup isn't good. Vancouver's playing Dallas. I guess I wasn't tapped in. I didn't know Dallas even made the playoffs, but Vancouver has got that. So let's think about this. Let's say San Diego beats Portland. let's say Minnesota beats Seattle, I'm going to say. LAFC, then Vancouver. That's going to be a great second round matchup if that's what happens. Let's say Philly plays Charlotte, I feel like, with Charlotte's form. We'll say Miami plays against Cincinnati. And then once that happens, we've got 4 peak second round matchups. Yeah, this is going to be good playoffs. You know, I might as well fill my imaginary bracket because then I'll have San Diego beating Minnesota. I'll have I think I'm gonna have LAFC beating Vancouver. I'll have Philly beating Charlotte, and I'll have Miami beating Cincinnati. There's not gonna be a third place match. We just don't do that around here. So then after that, we've got San Diego playing LAFC. I'm taking LAFC with just how they've been. It's oh, by the way, we do have third places in like the US Open Cup and Leagues Cup and is there another dumb match that we have? No. But yeah, we don't have that in MLS Cup. And then it would be Philly versus Miami. I'm taking Philly in that. So then we have LAFC versus Philly 2022 rematch. And I'm taking LAFC again. It's the matchup of teams that I hate less. And I think I hate LAFC less. I also don't hate LAFC. I hate LA teams. But all my boys in the 3252 LAO, all the boys that I met, I don't hate y'all. You're great. You boys are great. You gave me like 8 free beers. Philly, though, fuck Philly. I'm a Boston guy, so that's just how it be. You know? Damn, this is actually going to be... Oh! I'm going to be hating this playoffs. Let's say it's Philly versus Miami. I'm rooting for a meteor to hit the stadium. And then LAFC Vancouver. Vancouver's actually pretty cool. I like the team that they've been building. But I don't like that they keep calling up Tristan Blackman. They keep calling up Sebastian Berhalter. They keep calling up Brian White. Just stop doing that, please. But besides that, they've got a great team. Yes, so just realized this will be the only playoffs we see until this next time. Yeah. The playoffs are going to be interesting around the World Cup. Last time we had, we just kind of rushed it, and we were able to do that because we didn't have a fucking 3-game first round series. We didn't have to maneuver around all the windows. But it's going to be interesting when we actually have a World Cup break. And I think we still might have the playoffs around the same time. But hopefully we do away with Leagues Cup next year. I swear, if we have a World Cup break and Leagues Cup next year, like it was enough to have some teams have a break for the Club World Cup, but no. Open Cup, we figured out a fine enough solution for that. Leagues Cup, go away with Leagues Cup next year. Hopefully it stays that way. Even though Leagues Cup has some decent matches. I don't hate Leagues Cup when it's actually on it. I just hate what it stands for. Yes, I think they really can. See, the thing about Nashville, I get the exact same vibes of Atlanta next year. And it just so happened that Atlanta beat Miami in Game 2 and Game 3. Miami is in an interesting spot. Last year, they had all the reasons to believe that they were going to stomp through the whole playoffs. They quickly found out that here in the U.S., we like to get down and dirty when it comes to the playoffs. You may not have that in any other league in the world, and you may think that, we basically already won the league. We set a record for most points in a regular season. Well, that is the key word, regular season. when the playoffs, you know, it's a different season. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Oh, how you got playoffs? You don't even got promotion relegation in your U.S. sports. Go watch a playoff game. Go watch March Madness. Yeah, I mean, it's a different atmosphere, and I feel like Miami understands that this time around. But you still have some new guys like Rodrigo De Paul. Is he gonna be told by Messi, Busquets, Alba, Suarez that you can't just mess around and just walk through the playoffs, even if you are up 3-1 in game 1? It'll come quick. It'll just pass right by you. Oh, game 2 we lost, it's fine. We're going back to Miami in game 3. Don't be so sure. Oh, I missed that message. You just deleted it. I think you said yeah, no, Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. They were very disappointing. Oh, do I think they can turn the ship last year? I mean, they didn't really give me a reason to believe. And that's a shame because I wanna make a video in the Benz next year. But I also want it to be the best atmosphere possible. And this team has no reason to hope unless they go out and spend $60 million again. But like, what are you gonna sell, Amirdan? You're gonna sell I mean, do you really sell your... I feel like Amirdan's gotta go. He wasn't the worst piece this year. Latte Lath, you gotta keep him. He's the most expensive transfer in MLS history. The second most expensive transfer in MLS history is Kevin Denke. Well, actually, sorry. Both of them got beat out by Son. But before Son came in, it was Latte Lath and Denke. Denke has killed it. He's been perfect alongside Evander in Cincy this year. So I feel like you just got to thug it out. The championship may not be as good as we think. It may not be as much of a leap from MLS as we think, but it's still a leap. And if he was killing it in the championship for Middlesbrough, I think he'll figure it out in year 2. So, yeah, I think Atlanta will make the playoffs next year. I think this year was a fluke. But that's enough for MLS playoffs. So let's talk about USL, and then I'll get out of here. Again, this is a free stream. Next week and November camp and everything like that, this is members only. So if you do want to support the channel, become a member. It's it goes so long of a way just to know that I have people who will support me to do these things. I mean, I'm not gonna make my money back on this channel. I never will, because I go spend $200 to go on a trip to these teams. But you know, it's all for the love of the game. Make sure that people see them and maybe become a fan of these teams. Yeah, he will be at the World Cup. And yeah, so he won't be there if they don't have a break. That's gonna be really bad for Atlanta if they don't sell him. Honestly, they should just sell him. And no, Paraguay doesn't beat the USMNT right now. Even in our worst stage, we still beat Paraguay. USL is all set up for the playoffs now. Talk about the championship. Are they going to have this on FootMob? I hope they do. Nope, they don't. Okay, fine. But the matches aren't even set yet anyway, but sorry, I am getting like actively more sick just being here. But we're gonna thug it out. I won't be here for that long anyway. The main contender is Louisville. It has been all season. In the West, Tulsa has a 9-point lead, but I wouldn't really bank on them winning in the West. I like what Sacramento's been doing. There's a couple teams in here who could really go on a run. I think OCSC has a good chance. New Mexico, I haven't seen much of them, but they've been good in the games that I've watched against RAFC. RAFC themselves, as much as I love the boys, we haven't been healthy all year, and that hasn't changed. We're better than the 7th best team in the East, but we're not the best team in the East. That's Louisville, not better than Charleston. Unfortunately, we're not even better than Hartford, and they showed us that in the 3 games we played again this year. Pains me to say that, but yeah, Hartford is legit. They've got, actually, you can see it right here in the team this season. Yeah, their fullbacks are really good. They're pairing. These 2 guys right here. They are legit. North Carolina is I feel like it's a pretty solid Big 2. You could see that in the points too. Louisville and Charleston, but there's guys you should watch out for too. Hartford, Pittsburgh. I'll say RAFC because why not? Lastly, let's talk about the USL 1 playoffs. And I doubt they'll have the matchups here either, but let's check. Let's see what's going on. Nope. Yes, but in USL League 1, Knoxville ended up being the points leaders. Didn't know that because I feel like Chattanooga has been better all year. They'd still be my number 1 pick to win the league. Watch out for Portland because they have the best atmosphere in the league. It's not necessarily close. Check out the Derby Union if you haven't. Union Omaha is legit. They're a legit team. FC Naples is not bad. My number 1 pick, if I had to say, for who is going to win the USL leagues this year. For the championship, I have Louisville, and for USL League 1, I have Chattanooga Red Wolves SC. All right, fellas. Nayski in the building. Yeah, we were just talking about RAFC. I don't even see him in YouTube chat. Where'd he go? There he is. Oh, man. The legend. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love RAFC to go on a run this year, I don't think it's impossible. But haven't been healthy all year, like I said, and it didn't really change. There's only so far that Mikey could take us. Not Mikey. I was thinking of Mikey Vardas. Koki about it. Yeah. So my picks to win USL this year. Bank it in now. No turning back. I'm going Louisville to win the championship. And I am going with Chattanooga to win USL League 1. And for MLS, what did I say? I said LAFC. LAFC over Philly. Philly beat Miami, and LAFC beat Vancouver. Although, especially in MLS, anything can happen. Even the first round matchups are so unpredictable. In USL, it's a little bit more predictable. But last year we saw Colorado and RAFC in the final for the championship. So at the end of the day, anything still could happen. And yep, we are still the defending conference champs. Where's my There it is. RAFC right here. We got the boys. I'll be rooting for him. I'll, of course, be watching those games. And maybe if I could find a way, I'll do a watch along for that. Let me know if you would be interested in watching that. I think I would have to have it members only. Just because, like I said, for the perks, for the $3 tier, you get access to members only live streams. So I think I would have to do that then. But maybe not. If enough people who can't really pay, I understand if you can't pay, because like it is still kind of a big ask. But if you did want to support the channel financially, it goes a long way just to have the accountability of you guys, being here, and I appreciate you being here. But that was it for week 1 of Let's Chat, fellas. Had a fun time chatting with you. The VOD of the stream is going to be available. All the VODs of the members only streams will be available too if you did want to check them out afterwards. Be my guest. And I also think the USM&T section is going to be its own video. But besides that, I will see a couple of you next week. And thanks for stopping by. Cheers, fellas.